Jesus today gives us the parable of the pound. The pounds that were given to different people with instruction that they invest those pounds, but at the return of their Lord would get the pounds back, but with interest as well. And we have heard what each one of them did with what they received. Jesus is also talking about Jerusalem, a city where he is going to suffer, where people are going to rise against him and crucify him. He says, in that city, the citizens hate their Lord. They hate their king. And he has also told us what the king has decided towards the end of the gospel, what he has decided to do with those citizens of that city who hate him, who don't want him to reign over them. Definitely, he is referring to what is going to happen to him in Jerusalem, that people are going to rise against him and say, crucify him. But the point he's trying to make here is not really what is going to happen to him, but what is going to happen to those that we can call irresponsible citizens, those irresponsible stewards or servants of the king. Those irresponsible citizens, those unfaithful stewards or irresponsible stewards would be you and me. All of us have been given something by God that we can use not for ourselves, but for the community, for others. That God has blessed us so that we become a blessing to the community, to the family, to wherever we are, or to the people that we meet in our lives. Our Christian duty is to be a blessing by using what we have been given by God for the benefit of other people. But some of us, what do we do with what we have received from God? It's either we use them for ourselves or we don't use them at all. We pack them. We pack what God has given us. We don't use the gifts and talents that God has given us, so that through us, the community or the people that we meet would feel blessed or could be blessed. Listen to what the king says about that one servant who did not invest the pound that he received. Maybe that servant was thinking he was going to be praised by the king, that he was being clever by not doing anything with what he was given. He says, I was afraid of you, O king. I know that you are a hard man. You are a tough man. And so I didn't want to risk investing what you gave me. So I just hid it in a napkin, so that at your return you can just have everything back. And the king refers to that servant as a wicked servant. If you didn't want to use what I had given you in order to multiply it, at least you should have taken it to the bank, so that at my return I get that my pound, but with interest. But you just hid that pound without allowing it to multiply, or at least me getting something from it, or even interest. You wicked servant. What are we doing with what God has given us? Are we like this servant who has packed what he has been given by his king, by his Lord? Or are we actually making use of what we have been given in order to multiply it, so that it doesn't just serve us, but it also serves the community where we are, so that it also serves the people that we meet in our lives, but it serves also those people that we might not even have anything in common with, the total strangers? Are we multiplying the gifts and talents that God has given us? What about the resources that we receive from God? We can talk of the money. We can talk of property. We can talk of anything that we own, which has come from God. Are we using it for ourselves only, or are we also using it so that other people may benefit? As Jesus is telling this parable, he's throwing a challenge to you and me to reflect on how we use the talents and resources that God has given us. Sometimes when we see people coming to us asking for alms, asking for help, we look at them as a problem to avoid. We look at them as just a bother. This person is just bothering me. It's not my fault that you are poor. It's not my fault that you don't have food. It's not my fault that you never went to school. I wasn't there. I don't even know how you grew up or who was keeping you or whatever happened to you. It's not my fault. Why are you bothering me? We look at them as something to be avoided because their life has nothing to do with us, or we have nothing to do with their life. But as Jesus tells us this parable of the pounds, he's teaching us to be outgoing, to be altruistic. He's teaching us to reach out to those that life has not been fair, to those that life has not been fair to in one or another. We can put it in that way. Those that have tried so hard to better their lives, but maybe luck has not been on their side. So they come to us to ask for aid, to ask for help. What is our attitude towards them? When we multiply the pounds that God has given us, when we multiply the money that God has given us, when we put the money in the bank so that it gains interest, what it multiplies does not only serve us, it also serves those. What we multiply through investment does not only belong to us, it also belongs to those other people. And this is what it means to be a good steward, a good servant. And at the return of the Lord is going to look at us and at us and say, "Well done, faithful servant, because you did the right thing. You did the correct thing. Well done, faithful servant." But if we only use the resources that God has given us for ourselves, then at the end of time, the Lord is going to say, "You wicked servant." The same words that he uses to this one servant who thought was clever by hiding the pound, but actually wasn't clever at all. He should have invested that pound so that other people may benefit. So the $1 question that we can ask ourselves is, what exactly am I doing with what God has given me? Am I using it only for myself? Or am I also helping other people through the blessings that God has given me? The investments that I have, who is benefiting from those investments? Is it just the people that I know? Is it just the people that belong to my circles? The people that I call family and friends? What about those that I may consider as strangers? Those that just send us messages. You don't even know who is messaging you, asking for help. Those that knock on our doors, asking for help. When you are driving, you reach the traffic lights. There's always that one person that will come knock on your window, asking for a coin. What is our attitude towards those people? Is it just to brush them off as a problem to be avoided? Or do we feel moved to reach out to them? Jesus is teaching us to use the resources that we have multiplied, or that he has helped us to multiply, not only for ourselves, but also to benefit such people as those. We pray for ourselves today, that we may realize the fact that God has given us gifts and talents and resources that we can use not only for ourselves, but also for the community, for the church even. We should become a blessing to other people, because we have felt the blessings of God ourselves. And God has made us a conduit or a channel through which he can bless other people. Are we being what we're supposed to be as good stewards? We pray that indeed we may feel compelled to reach out to others with a compassionate heart, so that through us, other people may have a better life. Amen.